Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another video. And I have been tagged once again. I have been tagged by BroncoJuggalo Talks Movies. Great guy on here, has been a subscriber of mine for a little while now. And he just did a recent horror tag based on Chucky. So I figured, hey, you know what, let me do another response. Another response to a tag, because I've already been tagged once already by Horrific Nightmares JM. All credit to Sean Urshan for creating that tag. That was really fun doing that with the Universal Monster movies and the Universal Monster movies in general. Now it's time for this Chucky tag that BroncoJuggalo Talks Movies has done. I've been tagged by him, and before I start my answers to these questions, I tag Horrific Nightmares JM, Lisa Loves, and Mental Horror Pack. Tag him as well. So I tag you three guys. So let's get on to my answers to these questions. I have them right here on my phone. So question number one: do you prefer the original Chucky look or the scarred Bride of Chucky look? In my opinion, I prefer the original Chucky look because I really like the way Chucky looks in that. Nothing wrong with the scarred up look Chucky, but for some reason though, I think the original design of Chucky is more menacing in my opinion, because it's not obvious to the eye that he's a psychotic doll. I mean, in the original Child's Play, he just looked like a regular good guy doll. He wasn't scarred up and have stitches all over. He just looked like a normal doll that a kid would play with. And I just think it was more menacing. It was much more darker. It was much more creepier. Nothing, like I said, nothing wrong with the scarred up look Chucky. It's cool and all, but I much prefer the original design of Chucky. I just love that one so much because I've seen that look so many times, and I just love the way the original Chucky looked. Question number two: did the series need Tiffany? In my opinion, no, because I think Chucky was just fine being alone by himself. I mean, I really like the character of Tiffany that Jennifer Tilly did. I like Tiffany. I think she does have some good moments in the later films like Bride of Chucky, and mainly Bride of Chucky. Seed of Chucky, I'll get to later, but in one of these questions. But I really like Tiffany in Bride of Chucky, but in my opinion, you didn't really need Tiffany in the series. I think Chucky was just fine by himself, but I still like the character of Tiffany. But if I had to choose one or the other, I kind of prefer Chucky on his own because I think it was much more darker and much more creepier and things like that. But I still do like the character of Tiffany. Question number three: what is your favorite film in the series? Of course, the original Child's Play. The original Child's Play is a classic. Brad Dourif is the one and true Chucky. Charles Lee Ray. I really like Catherine Hicks. I like Alex Vincent, Chris Sarandon. It's a really solid cast. It's great atmosphere. I love the puppetry work on Chucky. Brad Dourif does a great job as Chucky. I mean, the original film is just such a great classic. It's one of the best horror films of the 80s, without a doubt. Question number four: what is your favorite Chucky one-liner? At the very end of the original Child's Play, when Chucky's stuck in the fireplace and he says to Andy, "We're friends till the end, remember?" And then, Andy lights him on fire and says, "This is the end, friend," lights him on fire. I mean, I love that line by Chucky. It's one of the most iconic lines that Chucky ever said. Granted, Chucky has got so many great one-liners, in the movies. The elevator scene when the old lady calls him an ugly doll, and you already know what Chucky says, and because I think that was Bronco's favorite one-liner. That's a great one too. But my favorite one is, "We're friends till the end, remember?" I love that line. It's a really iconic line in the original film. Question number five: Child's Play 3. Do you love it or hate it, and why? I personally really enjoyed Child's Play 3. I always thought it was a little underrated. I still think Child's Play 2 is more underrated, though, because I think Child's Play 2 is a really underrated sequel. but I really like Child's Play 3. I mean, sure, it's more has some little bits of humor. Not to say that some of the other, like the first film did have like some unintentional funny moments, like when Chucky comes alive, he's like, "You stupid! I'll teach it." Like just cursing like a sailor. I thought it was kind of funny, but it was like one of those things where Child's Play 3 I always thought was underrated. I liked the whole military school setting and all that stuff. I thought it was kind of an interesting premise, and I really like they got Alex Vincent to come back as Andy, and I love the way that Chucky dies at the end of that. I really like that, and I think that's just there's a lot about Child's Play 3 I think is underrated. But I was one of those guys that never minded Child's Play 3. I always enjoyed it. Question number 6: what's your favorite Chucky and or Tiffany kill? Without a doubt, I think I agree with Bronco on this one. My favorite kill in the franchise is when Chucky gets the worker guy in the toy factory and he falls on the conveyor belt and he goes through the machine, and then the doll eyes get put in his eyes. Such a great kill. I have to agree with Bronco on that one. That's my favorite kill as well. It's such a great one. There's so many other good ones too, but that one just stood out to me the most. Question number 7. Do you like that MGM is doing a Child's Play remake without Brad Dourif? No. Not at all whatsoever. No. The thing is, if you're going to remake Child's Play without Brad Dourif, then just don't do it, because that's like, because Brad Dourif is Chucky. Whenever you think of Chucky, you always think of Brad Dourif. It's like, Jason, like, makes like some comparisons here. It's like, if you're going to remake Hellraiser and not have Doug Bradley, it's not Hellraiser. Because when you think of Hellraiser, you think of Doug Bradley. Because Doug Bradley is Pinhead. It's like when they remade Nightmare on Elm Street without Robert Englund, then it's not Nightmare on Elm Street, because Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger. That's like with this case. If you're going to remake Child's Play without Brad Dourif, then it's not going to be Child's Play, because whenever you think of Child's Play, you think of Brad Dourif as Chucky, because he is Chucky. Just like how Doug Bradley is the true Pinhead. Robert Englund is the true Freddy Krueger. Same thing with Brad Dourif. He is the true Chucky. And if you just have some other guy in there voicing Chucky, it's not going to be the same, because when you think of Chucky, you think of Brad Dourif. And Brad Dourif is such a versatile actor, and he's been in so many other great things. Had a little thing in Graveyard Shift, and I mean, so many other films. Exorcist 3, which I think is underrated. Brad Dourif is a versatile actor, and without Brad Dourif doing Chucky, I don't think you don't need a remake, because what's the point of remaking it without Brad Dourif? Because when you think of Chucky, there's only Brad Dourif, and that's it. Because Jason doesn't really count, because like many actors that played Jason, like Kane Hodder, Ted White, Steve Dash, C.J. Graham. I mean, different actors that played Jason, but like I'm talking about like one specific character that was played by the same actor in all the movies. That's why I said Doug Bradley, Robert Englund, and Brad Dourif. I mean, there's probably some other ones out there. Even Terry O'Quinn as the stepfather. If you remake The Stepfather without Terry O'Quinn, then it's not The Stepfather. Because when you think of The Stepfather, you think of Terry O'Quinn. That's how it is. So I don't like the fact that they're going to do a remake without Brad Dourif. Because I remember back in the day, back in like 2009 or 2010, they were talking about remaking it back then, and they were going to actually have Brad Dourif as the voice of Chucky, but I never heard any talks about that. Like, I think that kind of fizzled out, and now they're going to do this. I'm not a fan. I'm sorry. If you're going to remake Child's Play and not have Brad Dourif, then it's not worth making it. Question number 8. If you would have wrote Seed of Chucky, what would you have changed? Easily, Seed of Chucky is just one of those films that I saw once and I did not like it. I tried to give it another shot, and I still don't like it. It's too goofy. I would have cut out a lot of the humor, because that's one of the biggest issues. So the humor was not funny. It was really forced humor, and the whole thing too with the whole kid storyline. I mean, it wasn't very interesting. I mean, they kind of took away what Chucky was in the original films. Like, Chucky is this psychotic doll, but like when you look at Seed of Chucky, granted Chucky does, you know, give people their comeuppance, but not really as much. He's not really as dark as he used to be. They kind of turned Chucky into a joke, and that's why I like what they're going now with, you know, Cult of Chucky and Curse of Chucky. Like, they're bringing back more of the darker roots, and I like that. So easily cut out the humor and cut out the whole kid storyline, and just change that around and make, if Chucky was going to have a kid, then just make the kid a psycho, just like how Chucky was. I mean, make it really dark and all that stuff. That's how I would have wrote Seed of Chucky. There's just so much wrong with that one. And the last question here is, what do you want to see in the Child's Play TV show miniseries? My main thing here is that it's going to be a miniseries. I don't really know how it's going to work exactly, because this is the first time I'm actually hearing that it's going to be a miniseries, but I'm just hoping that, like, from what I heard, it's going to go back to the roots of being dark, and Brad Dourif's going to be Chucky, so that's cool. Don Mancini's aboard, cool. I'm just hoping it's like one of those things where we're going to get more of Chucky, and I'm just hoping it's not one of these miniseries where Chucky is kind of pushed to the background, and it's more about, like, these characters, like, whatever characters they're going to have in the miniseries, and it's going to be more about them and less about Chucky, because I really want to see Chucky, because when you think of Child's Play, it's Chucky. It's more about Chucky's movie, and I really would like to see more of Chucky, and I'm just hoping that he's not pushed to the background and kind of left out of the, he's like a backdrop, but hopefully that's not the case, and I just like to see them continue on the storyline with Fiona Dora from Cult of Chucky and things like that. So, and I just hope that, you know, they don't add, like, humor and all that stuff, but from what I heard, they're not doing that, which I hope for, because you look at Seed of Chucky, and I think they're not going to do that anymore, but I'm just hoping that this miniseries just has Chucky in it a lot and not a background character, and make it really, really dark. That's all I'm really asking for, but from what I heard, they are going to make it dark, so, and maybe continue on the storyline with the Fiona Dorf character and things like that, so there you go. That is my answers to your questions, and thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Alright guys, take care.